Everything that is explained in this video is summarized from CoinMarketCap. And also, please don't forget to support my channel for more XRP updates and some other cryptocurrencies as a whole. Now take a look at this. SC filed sealed remedy reply brief in XRP lawsuit, putting their remedies reply brief and its exhibits under a tight seal. The Securities and Exchange Commission did something that added a fresh wrinkle to their continuing litigation with Ripple. We will all get a sneak peek at the redacted copies that the bigwigs have agreed upon on Wednesday, May 8th, even though the contents are not yet available to the public. That is not all, however. Shortly, several filings that are associated with cleaning up this mess are slated to be submitted. Ongoing legal moves in the situation. On May 7, the courtroom was transformed into a battleground for tactics. To choose which aspects of the response brief and exhibits are going to be made available to the general public, the parties on both sides, along with certain third players, gathered together. The information that is kept under wraps as confidential or highly confidential is being chosen among them. The next day, they will demonstrate to the general public what they have meticulously cleaned up. The remedial rebuttal brief and supporting documents have been submitted by the SEC, which has done so under seal. The public does not yet have access to these documents. The public versions that have been censored will be submitted by Wednesday, May 8th, 2024. Other filings about sealing will be made after that. Please see the following. It is not yet over with us. On the following Monday, May 13, all the parties concerned are attempting to keep their cards close to their breast by using omnibus motions to seal the briefing goods such as declarations and briefs. They are throwing their letter motions into the ring. Then they will reveal their hands on the redactions that have been moving forward in time to the 20th of May. They are once again engaged in the task of challenging those omnibus motions to seal by sending out letter briefs. If the court rules in their favor, they have committed to release the disinfected documents within 2 weeks. There is still a tug of war between Ripple and the SEC. In the meantime, Ripple is busy arguing against the SEC's price tag of over $2 billion in disgorgement, interest, and penalties. This is happening as the suits are currently playing a game of passing the parcel with papers. They are certain that they should not contribute more than $10 million. In the meantime, the Securities and Exchange Commission is getting ready to defend its position, which might result in Ripple's sales to OD clients being permanently terminated. Ashley Prosper thinks that this round of responses can pave the path for a settlement, particularly considering the possibility of sanctions for the institutional sales of XRP's cryptocurrency. On the other hand, you shouldn't hold your breath because the negotiations for a settlement could continue until Judge Torres issues a final ruling, which is typically expected to be handed down in September. This is something that Bill Morgan is very interested in, seeing how the SEC responds to Ripple's request to have a permanent injunction revoked. There is more at stake than just the possibility of a fine here, he stated. This might be a game changer for Ripple in terms of how they conduct their company if the judge decides to tighten up on their activities. A specialist in the field of law who is a member of the XRP community named Jeremy Hogan recently stated, I believe the SEC will lose this motion. Using previous instances as an example, he indicated that the court will most likely consider Fox to be an expert, which means that the SEC will most likely prevail. According to him, the United States Securities and Exchange Commission has submitted its remedies reply brief under seal, which is a key step forward in the case's remedies phase. This is the latest development in the XRP lawsuit that Ripple and the SEC have been engaged in. At this stage, the focus is on evaluating the potential punishment that the financial technology company would be subjected to if the SEC is successful in proving its allegations that Ripple engaged in unlawful securities transactions utilizing its XRP coin. A comprehensive timeline of upcoming events regarding Ripple and the SEC James K. Phelan, a former defense attorney who is actively monitoring the case, provided an update to the XRP community using XA, which was then known as Twitter. He stated the SEC has filed under seal its remedies, reply brief, and supporting exhibits. The public does not yet have access to these documents. The public versions that have been censored will be submitted by Wednesday, May 8th, 2024. Other filings of a sealing-related kind will be forthcoming. A series of legal maneuvers centered around the secrecy and disclosure of sensitive materials have been initiated as a result of this filing, which is an important procedural step in the ongoing case. To discuss and determine the appropriate redactions to be applied to the reply brief and accompanying documents, Ripple and the SEC will meet today, May 7, following the file that was sealed yesterday. This meeting will involve both parties as well as any third parties The purpose of this meeting is to identify which material will be kept confidential and which portions will be made available to the general public. The Ripple case will inevitably be heard by the Second Circuit Court of Appeals, according to a former SEC representative. By the current protective order, the Securities and Exchange Commission is planning to make available to the public on May 8th a version of the reply brief that has been redacted, together with any supporting exhibits that have not been designated as confidential or highly confidential. It is only those temporary redactions that were requested during the meeting in confer on May 7 that will be included in this release. In addition, additional sealing motions are scheduled to take place on May 13, during which all of the participating parties and third parties will submit omnibus letter motions to seal all of the materials that are associated with the remedies-related briefing. Briefs, declarations, and supporting exhibits are included in this set of papers, which is then followed by the submission of proposed redactions to these pieces of information. Oppositions to the sealing motions that were submitted on May 13 are due on May 20. The procedure requires that the parties are also obligated to submit public copies of any documents that have been redacted within 14 days of the court's determinations on the omnibus sealing motions. Ripple's defense and the financial stakes involved, because the SEC is pursuing fines and penalties that amount to almost $2 billion. The stakes are exceptionally high. In its counter proposal, Ripple believes that the maximum punishment should be only $10 million. Furthermore, the fintech company maintains that it has implemented major modifications to prevent future violations, which is the basis for its argument against the proposed injunction by the SEC. James K. Fallon, an experienced attorney, spoke on X today to discuss the continuing legal battle between Ripple and the SEC. He shared his observations of the situation. A tweet sent forth by Fallon today disclosed that the Securities and Exchange Commission had submitted its remedial reply brief and accompanying exhibits under seal. The documents that detail the potential remedies that the SEC would implement if a decision is made against Ripple are not yet available to the public. On the other hand, it is anticipated that copies of these papers that have been heavily redacted will be made available by Wednesday, May 8, 2024, and that other filings related to sealing will follow. The remedial rebuttal brief and supporting documents have been submitted by the SEC Gov, which has done so under seal. The public does not yet have access to these documents. The public versions that have been censored will be submitted by Wednesday, May 8th. Other filings about sealing will be made after that. The latest information coming from Fallon comes just a few days after he tweeted about Ripple's letter that was submitted in favor of its request to strike fresh expert materials on April 22, 2024. Warning, the information that has been provided is not intended to be trading advice. There is no responsibility for any investments that are made based on the information that is provided on this page. Before making any decision about investments, we strongly advise conducting independent research and consulting with a knowledgeable professional.